The story of the Lord who loves stories is a Japanese tale. It is not very well known even in Japan. Once upon a time, in a certain country, there lived a lord who loved old stories. Every night, he would call his servants to tell him old stories, and no matter how many stories the servants told, the lord never got bored. Soon, the servants had run out of old stories to know, so after consulting together, they decided to issue a proclamation throughout the streets. The decree stated that a reward would be given to anyone who could make the Lord say, "I'm tired of hearing old tales." Upon seeing this decree, many people from all over the kingdom volunteered to tell old tales in front of the Lord, but even after the storyteller finished his story, the Lord would have them tell one after another, so the storyteller ended up running out of old tales. "Is that all?" asked the Lord. The storyteller left the castle without any reward. One day, a young woman came to the Lord. "I will tell you fairy tales until you get bored, my lord," said the girl. "Can I really tell fairy tales until I get bored?" "Of course. But before I begin, I have a request. When there's a pause, please say, 'And then what happened?' Otherwise, I won't be able to move forward." "I understand. I'll say that. Once upon a time, there was a willow tree. And then what happened? In a hole in the tree there was a baby mouse. And then what happened? The baby mouse grew up and crossed the bridge in front of the tree. And then what happened? A big mouse climbed up the bank and squeaked, 'Key, key.' And then what happened? The big mouse climbed up the next bank and squeaked, 'Key, key.' And then what happened? The big mouse climbed up the next bank and squeaked, 'Key, key.' And then what happened? The big mouse climbed up the next bank and squeaked, 'Key, key.' And then what happened? The mouse climbed up the next bank and cried, 'Keek, keek.' And then what happened? The mouse climbed up the next bank and cried, 'Keek, keek.'" The girl repeated this story 100 times. And then what happened? The prince told it the same number of times, but finally he got bored. "I've had enough of this old tale," said the prince, and went back to his room, and the girl was given many rewards. The end.